I'm delighted to introduce our keynote speaker for today. A widely influential civil rights attorney, activist, and author. Constance Connie L. Rice previously served as Western Regional Counsel for the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. She also co-founded both the Advancement Project and the Urban Peace Institute. Among her notable legal work, Ms. Rice and her colleagues at the NAACP Legal Defense Fund represented Los Angeles bus riders in a landmark public transit case that won the largest civil rights settlement in United States history. Outside of the courtroom, Ms. Rice galvanized the police, community, and government to transform inner-city policing and prevent gang homicides. She also served on the White House Task Force on the 21st Century Policing. Over her career, she has been honored more than 50 times, recognizing her impact as a public safety changemaker, a humanitarian, and an advocate for peace. In addition to all of that, she's the author of the acclaimed memoir, Power Concedes Nothing. Please join me in welcoming Connie Rice.
Hola! Professor Rasmussen, thank you. And to the faculty, to the deans, congratulations to you because you've landed this plane and you've got another graduate class. Congratulations to you. To parents and family, take a deep bow because as my mother pointedly told me on my graduation day, lawyers aren't born, Connie, they are raised. And that degree in your hand has my name and your father's name on it. Seriously, to your families, as my parents were, you were the wind beneath their wings, and this is your achievement too. And last but not least, class of 2022, good grief. Did you think this day would ever get here? You know, if you were a battleship, I'd have to call you the Intrepid, because you let absolutely nothing get between you and this degree. And I mean, I don't think I could have done it. Global plague, violent insurrection, Oscar smackdowns. I mean, not even the beginning of World War III kept you from those exams that have you sitting in these seats. And I'm sure you're hoping this is one of the very last times that you were held captive and forced to listen to somebody who was born in the last century, okay? So let me make this 7 minutes worth your while. There's a West African parable that goes like this. Olodumare, the Yoruban creator god, he ordered his top warrior to create an entire civilization using a single tool, a machete. The warrior took the machete and instead switched it into an instrument of destruction, a weapon of destruction. Furious, the god Olomare summoned back the warrior and he sentenced him to an eternal condition of Ugonda, in which for every single action, thought, word that warrior ever took, he would be forced to ask this question first. Is this a weapon for destruction or a tool to build? In a moment, you will receive your degrees, and it will be a machete with JD carved in the handle. And at your inductions, when you raise your right hand, you will swear to defend a radical document that rejects a 6,000-year norm of autocracy. You will raise your hand and swear under oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. Now, I took that oath over 40 years ago. and every day since I have fought like a dragon to make its promise real. I am the great-granddaughter of slaves, and people wonder why the great-granddaughter of slaves would defend with her life a constitution that enshrined her inferiority as a woman and enshrined her ancestors' bondage. I do it for the same reasons that Martin Luther King told Harry Belafonte 1 week before King's assassination. They were in Harry Belafonte's beautiful West End apartment in Manhattan, and King was exhausted, and he turned to Harry and he said, "Harry, I fear we are integrating into a burning house, engulfed in the flames of injustice." And Belafonte said, "Well, Martin, what is it that we must do?" And King replied, "We must become firemen." African Americans and all of our excluded peoples are not fighting to join an unjust system, but to make that system just for all. Patriots perfect the Union, not ransack it. The Constitution of the United States is not just a spike strip that thwarts tyranny. It creates the Thunderdome where lawyers like me battle to expand equality and to include the excluded. It is the tool, ladies and gentlemen, with which all of us in this auditorium will forge multiracial, all-human democracy. I, the great-granddaughter of slaves, I defend the Madisonian framework, that framework of reason, truth, compromise, rule of law, separation of powers, independent judiciary, responsible freedom, accountable liberty, equality, due process, majority rule with minority protections, and government of, by, and for the people. Why? I defend it because without that framework, this great-great-granddaughter of slave owners would not be standing before you giving this address today. Ladies and gentlemen, democracy is a very precious but very unnatural act, and it requires Praetorian vigilance to protect and an iron will to expand. Remember, the United States has only become a democracy since 1965, when the Voting Rights Act was passed. Our 48 years of universal suffrage unfortunately ended when the United States Supreme Court handed down an opinion, Shelby County v. Holden. That opinion gutted the Voting Rights Act, but not just gutted the Voting Rights Act, it reignited and relicensed the old Dixie mission to cancel interracial democracy and to foil majority rule. Folks, the last battle of the Civil War was not in 1865 at the Appomattox Courthouse, but on January 6, 2020, at the House of Representatives. The Union can still lose the Civil War. Madisonian democracy is the rare black swan of governance, and multiracial, all-human democracy remains just a dream sealed in our 240-year-old motto, E pluribus unum, a credo so great it justifies the excruciating pain of learning Latin. E pluribus unum, of the many, one. A vision so compelling, King gave his life to achieve it. We have fought 400 years for full equality and full freedom, not 48 years of temporary democracy. And if we join forces, our future will not be lit by the tiki torches of hate, but by Lady Liberty's torch of freedom. Our destiny is not in the cemeteries of segregation, but on King's mountaintop of freedom. We are not going back. Not to the back of buses, not to the back of the line, and not back to the back alleys where women and girls are sent to die. Your Juris Doctorate is not just a degree. It is a tool that can save democracy. which once is lost, my friends, will never be regained. When an incited mob destroyed the peaceful transfer of power in 2020, the one branch of the Madisonian framework that stood firm was the judiciary. The courts and local election officials saved the Union this time. But if we don't wake up and smell the bear spray, the Constitution and those courts may yet buckle under the relentless onslaught against democracy. At our best, lawyers are gladiators for equality, not abettors of insurrection. At our best, we are the architects of shared prosperity that the folks in that mob do not have. As we rightfully arm Ukraine to battle brute force subjugation, we must link arms and defend e pluribus unum democracy here at home. Or as the great Thurgood Marshall put it, we can run from each other, but we cannot escape each other. Knock down the fences that divide, tear apart the walls that imprison, reach out, freedom lies just on the other side, unquote. This is our watch. Our ancestors are looking. We cannot let democracy die in the apathy of silence. My friends, the intrepid class of 2020, on your watch, take your machete and defend this constitutional democracy like there's no tomorrow. Congratulations and Godspeed.